But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. Let me tell you about my great God. Hey guys, Pastor Tim here. Hope you're ready to get your day started off in God's Word. We are on Genesis chapter 28, and last chapter, if you remember, we see the fracture of Isaac's family, and it all comes down to their unbelief and their disobedience. And now we see Jacob, because of his scheming with his mother Rebekah, because of their scheming and unbelief, he has to leave the household. All right, because if he doesn't leave, Esau, who is very angry at him at the moment, is going to kill him. So Rebekah tells him, you know what? Hey, this is what you need to do. You need to go to my brother Laban. Go out from here. Go back to our homeland and go to his house. But before he goes, Isaac blesses him one more time, and he also gives him this charge, much the same kind of thing that Abraham wanted for Isaac as well, and that is the fact that, you know what, hey, I don't want you to marry anyone from the land of the Canaanites, all right? And I don't want you to marry anyone from your mother's homeland besides, someone from our household, from our family line, so to speak. Much the same thing with Abraham and Isaac. Isaac is now telling unto Jacob, all right? Because everyone in the land of Canaan obviously does not follow God, does not believe in God. It goes back to that principle of be ye not unequally yoked. And something interesting we see from all this is Esau, he sees this. He sees that, oh, my parents don't want Jacob to marry somebody from the land of the Canaanites. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to marry somebody from the land of Canaanites. So very spiteful thing to do. Well, he's doing it because he's really just upset at his father for not giving him the blessing, for being tricked by Jacob. And so he does this despite his parents. He does this out of anger, for all the wrong reasons, obviously. So not only is he marrying the wrong people, but he's definitely doing it for the wrong reasons, and it just causes strife and trouble in the household even after Jacob leaves. So Jacob, he goes, and on his way there, he stops in the land that he's going to call Bethel in a little bit, but he stops to lay his head down and to rest, and he has a vision from the Lord, a dream, if you want to call it that, and he sees what you may know as Jacob's ladder. All right, so he sees his ladder that comes from the earth all the way up to heaven, and he sees the angels and so forth coming up and down, ascending and descending from that ladder. And then God speaks to him and reaffirms the covenant that he made with his fathers before him, Isaac, and to Abraham. I will give you a land, this land. I will give you a nation, and all the nations in the world will be blessed through you. He's reaffirming that promise with Jacob. See, Jacob couldn't go forward simply on his father's faith. He had to come to a decision about it himself. All right, it's the same thing with a child of God as well, or I should put it like this: not the child of God, but it's the same thing for teenagers and young people and anybody really as well when it comes to God. All right, you're not simply a child of God. All right, you're not simply a Christian because your parents are. All right, you're not simply a Christian or a child of God because you go to church all the time. No, you have to make a decision yourself when it comes to this. And God, through this vision and through speaking to Jacob, is giving him this opportunity by hearing his words to show faith in him and make it his own personal decision. And we see Jacob do that. He makes an altar of sorts, a pillar, it says in the chapter, and he calls the place Bethel. This is the house of God. Now, he still struggles, and we'll see that in the coming chapters, all right? But when he struggles, we see in a few chapters, he's going to come right back here to the house of God. And as a child of God, I'm sure you're aware there are trials, there are obstacles in this life, and you will struggle. You still reside in your flesh. In those moments, like Jacob, come back to the house of God, quote unquote. I'm not saying you have to come back into the building of the church, all right? Because church is much more than just about a building. But come back to the house of God. Come back to God, all right? And renew those vows and dedicate yourself, to following him. If you want another example, get back on the horse, so to speak. All right, so this chapter is kind of short, but we see in it Jacob leaving his father's house. He's never going to see his mother ever again, and he's on his way to Laban, his uncle. There's going to be a lot going on with that. But in the midst of that, we see God speaking to him, gives him a vision, speaks to him in his word, reaffirming that promise he made unto his fathers. And we see Jacob make a decision to put his faith in God. That's all I got for today's chapter, guys. I hope you wrote some things down about it. Circle one main thing and tell somebody about it as well. Other than that, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.